We are coming to you from Comerica Park in Detroit, where this afternoon, WGN Sports presents White Sox baseball. It's Javi Garcia, Jose Abreu, Alexi Ramirez in the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and the 9-1 Detroit Tigers. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrell, since we get set to bring you Game 2 of this 3-game set. In Game 4 of this 5-game road trip, as you know, we started off 2 in Cleveland. We split those. Then yesterday in a very exciting ball game, Samardzija was just outstanding, as was David Price. Then we get to the 9th inning, and there was a very controversial play at second base.
There certainly was, and we didn't have this particular angle you're going to see. On this angle, you can see Alexi putting the tag on Castellanos. A great throw by Garcia. It's there well ahead of Castellanos. Now you see he tags the toe and misses the knee. The only angle we had was he was missing the knee. So unfortunately, that call went against the Sox, eventually losing that ball game. It was a tremendous pitcher's duel. Very exciting game, but we came out on the short end.
Well, what's shocked me about that replay that we just saw, the angle we did not have yesterday, was the fact that Brian Lenore was in perfect position to make the call, and he missed it. But this afternoon, Chris Sale on the bump.
We've got another good pitching matchup with Chris Sale and Anibal Sanchez. Now, the Sox have done a pretty good job against Sanchez, and last time out, Chris Sale looked like he hadn't missed any time at all. He completely handcuffed the Minnesota Twins, threw the ball about as well as you could expect for a guy getting his first start. Herm Schneider with a big hug. And that's what it looks like head-to-head. Sale, a .500 pitcher against this Detroit team, but a fine ERA under 3. Sanchez, on the other hand, 2-4 against our Sox with an ERA of 3.72. He's a good pitcher. He's got 4 solid pitches. But one of the guys in the lineup that you really have to worry about is Victor Martinez.
And this is what he's done against Chris Sale. I believe he's 15 for 29, and he has just worn him out.
Not only against Chris Sale, but against our Sox. Victor Martinez has been a one-man gang. Now, he had off-season knee surgery, and he's been kept out of the lineup for 4 days because of that. But against our Sox career, 327. He's a doubles machine. As you can see, an OPS of 910, and against Chris Sale, well, nobody in baseball is hitting .517 except for Victor Martinez. We'll hope that the knee isn't 100% and Chris Sale can wend his way around him. You have to worry about Cabrera and a few other people. This Detroit team is hitting the ball well, and they're off to a 9-1 start. They've done that twice in their history. They went and won the World Series both times.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way. Chicago White Sox baseball is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. By Honda Dream Garage Sales Event, now at your Honda dealer. By Subway, make a smart play for savory subs this season. Score more flavor at Subway restaurants. Subway, eat fresh. By Ford, America's best-selling brand.
home for the most live sports. So from beautiful Comerica Park, let's see how Robin is going to line up our Sox for the second game of the series this afternoon. Adam Eaton leading it off with Melky Cabrera in the 2 spot. Jose Abreu, the designated hitter today, with Adam LaRoche playing first base and hitting 4th. Then it's Avi Garcia, Connor Gillespie, Alexi Ramirez, Tyler Flowers, and Micah Johnson rounding it out. The defense, and how they'll line up behind Anibal Sanchez. Cespedes is in left field, Davis in center, J.D. Martinez in right, with Hernan Perez at third, Jose Iglesias at short, Ian Kinsler at second, and Miguel Cabrera at first. James McCann, a former second-round draft pick, behind the plate. And Anibal Sanchez on the hill. He's 1-1 this year. This year, 3rd start. His ERA, 3.46. Pretty good batting average against the 229. He's a 4-pitch pitcher with very good stuff. Moves that fastball in and out. Throws anywhere from 92 to 96. The umpires for the game this afternoon, the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg, is behind the plate. Brian Honora is at first. Alan Porter is at second. And Mark Ripperger is at third. So with the Tigers coming in first place at 9-1 and our Sox tied with Cleveland, 5.5 back at 3-6, we're ready to play baseball, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here with WGN Sports. So happy you could join us. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. Adam Eaton 2 for 4 yesterday. Gets set, and the 31-year-old veteran right-hander's first pitch taken for a strike.
Hernan Perez is very short at third. He's a shortstop by trade, playing third base today. He's very quick to both sides and he's got a strong arm.
That's tough foul. And very quickly the count 0-2. Sox came in hitting at just .217 as a club, while the Tigers are hitting .311.
A beautiful day today. It's 70 degrees. Winds out of the northeast at 13. And it is a sunny, fairly breezy day.
All right, Papa. So with one out, let's check out our picks to click this afternoon. Jim Angio, our director and the crew. Went with Eaton. Steve's going with Cabrera. And David Novak and all the great folks at Poogie Hyundai in Downers Grove and I, we're going to go with Micah Johnson. Here's Cabrera.
Sox have fared very well against Sanchez. He's 2-4 lifetime against them. There's a whole lot of guys in this lineup that have good career numbers against one of the tougher right-handers in the league.
The better the pitcher, the more of the plate you got to concede. As a rule, when you try to cover the plate against guys like Sanchez or guys like David Price or guys like Samardzija or Chris Sale, as there's a base hit into right field, you're trying to cover the whole plate, you're probably going to go for 4. So here's Abreu. Jose 0 for 4 yesterday. And he has faced Sanchez 5 times, has a couple of hits. Outfield, they're deep. Big gap out there in left center.
Got some pretty good speed with Cespedes and Davis in left and center field. Martinez not overly fast in right. Cespedes has an overwhelming arm in left field.
Pretty good lead by Melky. And that's a fair ball right down the line. So Melky's going to make the turn. Cespedes will get it back in. And we have Ducks on the Pine, one down here in the top of the first.
Perez was off the line, and his fastball on the inside part of the plate taken right down the line. Call by Mark Ripperger. You're not going to run on Cespedes. He gets to carry him cleanly. And a great way to start the game as Iglesias faking Abreu that he might have had the ball.
So here's LaRoche. Had him at 179, a couple of homers. He's driven in 4. He did go.
Infield is back. They're going to concede the run early in the game. Brad Ausmus, the second-year skipper of the Tigers, knows that he's got a very good offense. And even against Chris Sale, he wants to stay out of the big inning.
Nice gap in right center. And a big hole. 0-2 the count. Adam was 0 for 3 yesterday, and he's faced Sanchez 36 times, has 9 hits, all of which have stayed in the park.
Adam has been somewhat selective. He leads the Sox in walks and strikeouts. All he needs is a little contact here. Drive in the first run of the game. Put the pressure on this Tiger offense against a very formidable foe in Chris Sale.
Pass low, and here at Comerica Park, 345 down the left field line, 330 down the right field line, 365 in right center, 375 in left center, and 420 dead away center.
James McCann's a very good defensive catcher. So far the bat has not caught up to the defense, but they, after drafting him number 2 in the draft, feel that eventually he's going to be the everyday catcher.
A big strikeout, 2 down.
This looks like almost a backup slider. It stayed up in the zone and no contact.
So here's Avi. Accounted for our long run yesterday with his first homer of the season into the bleachers in right center. And that's out of play right side.
He had a first ball fastball that was out away, and this was the lone run the Sox were going to tally in the ball game. And one of the few mistakes that David Price made. Tigers, who went through Minnesota 3 straight here without giving up an earned run, have only given up just that lone earned run heading into their 5th home game.
Lilley coming in with a 1.82 team ERA.
Pretty strong up and down. Even that bullpen has been pretty good.
Lays off it up high.
Tigers having lost Rick Porcello, Max Scherzer a couple of years ago, Doug Fister, and Drew Smiley, who was out of their bullpen but has become a starter. Their starting ERA is 1.55. So McCann trying to get together on a sign with Sanchez. Young catcher, veteran pitcher, usually defers to the pitcher as to what he wants to throw.
Iglesias. But once again, we have an excellent chance to score and can't do anything with it.
It's going to be Davis, Kinsler, and Cabrera at the top, with Victor Martinez, J.D. Martinez, and Cespedes in the middle. McCann, Perez, and Iglesias round it out. The defense, and now the lineup behind Chris Sale, Cabrera, Eaton, and Garcia in the outfield, with Gillespie, Ramirez, Johnson, and LaRoche in the infield. Tyler Flowers behind the plate, and Chris Sale on the hill. Looking for win number 2. First time out, just 1 walk and 8 Ks in 6 innings.
That fastball slashed foul. Ajay comes in at 263, a homer. He's driven in 2. 1 for 3 yesterday, and 5 for 12 lifetime offers. It's softly in right field. It's going to fall. So a little duck snort double.
Got a lot of speed at the top in Rajay Davis, who reaches out for this off-speed pitch and just dumps it into right field. Throw off the mark, but even with a good throw, they wouldn't have gotten him. So an ominous way to start the first inning.
That'll bring up Ian Kinsler, the second baseman, hitting at .310, no homers, but he has driven in 8. Ian was 0 for 4. Yesterday. And that fastball at 97 whistled right on by him.
You wonder how a team goes 9-1 to start the season. They're second in the league in hitting behind Kansas City. They're first in the league in pitching ahead of Oakland and Houston, and 4th in the league defensively. So it's been a very strong early part of the season.
Talking to some Detroit people, they've been catching everything that's been hit.
Completely
when you
different
do
year.
that, that's the first rule in baseball. Doesn't make any difference, as we talked about for years. How good your pitching is or how good your hitting is. If you catch everything, you're going to be competitive. And they've been very competitive, so to speak.
We talked about the previous 9-1 starts, and we didn't talk about 1911, but we did talk about 1968, 1984. They won the World Series both years. In '84, they started out 35-5 and just ran away with everything.
Kinsler trying to stay inside and push it to the right side. Count hangs at 0-2.
Kinsler will get himself out on fastballs face high. He's always been a very aggressive fastball hitter.
Well, a nice crowd on hand on a beautiful afternoon. Yesterday, 33,081. He gone. One out. Good pitch down and in.
Good hard slider in and off the plate. Tyler Flowers does a nice job of blocking it. Then faking the second base to make sure that Rajai Davis is at least heading back to second before making the easy play to first. Chris Sale, one of the few guys around that has had the best of Miguel Cabrera. He's hitting just 200 against him lifetime. Not many pitchers can say that.
He comes in hitting at 439, a couple of homers. 9 driven in, 2 for 4 yesterday, but he hit the ball hard. Very hard. With Gordon Beckham making a sensational play to take a 2-run double away from it and turn it into a double play.
We're coming off-season ankle surgery. Great play by Gordon Beckham at third yesterday on a hard hit ball. One hopper with topspin. Out of the inning. It could have easily gone into the left field corner.
Well, that picture just doesn't explain how good that play was. 2-1 the count.
And last season in head-to-head matchups, Cabrera 0 for 9 against Chris Sale. And Chris struck him out the last 6 times he faced him.
And a happy birthday to, that's just foul, to Cabrera. 32 years old today.
Well, he's always done pretty well on his birthday. Hopefully this will be the exception. There's a lot of speculation that he might not even be ready for the start of the season. For the most part, he had about 2.5 weeks of swinging the bat in competition in spring training. That's until the ankle completely healed. But being one of the tougher guys around, he's going to play regardless.
Good pitch. He just fought it off.
He wants it up and in because if there is one spot which you would say is his weak spot, it is up and in. Been a .226 hitter on pitches up and in. However, you keep going there and he will burn you.
Boy, there are a lot of foul balls. That fastball at 98.
Early in the count, he stayed away. Later in the count, as he's going for the strikeout or pop-up, he has stayed in. Chris is reaching back to get everything he can here to get out of this inning.
Three-two pitch. That's into center field. Here comes Davis. Ball gets away. Cabrera in the second, and it's 1-0 Detroit. Tried to trick him on 3-2, didn't work.
RBI number 10 for Cabrera. It's a rolling breaking ball. Ends up down the middle. He dumps it into center field, and they've got a shot at a very fast base runner, but a short hop throw, and you're not going to be able to make the play. And for a lot of you pitchers down there, when you look at that play, you got to get in line with the throw. Chris was on the first base side of the plate. You got to be in back of your catcher far enough to be able to stop anything, although odds are they wouldn't have had Cabrera at second anyway.
So here's Victor. He did not play yesterday. 15 for 29 lifetime off, Chris, with 3 homers and 6 knocked in.
They do give Adam Eaton an error on that as Cabrera advanced to second.
And change up, and the count 0-2. Yeah, Cabrera, that's what makes him such a great hitter. He fought off some very tough pitches from Sale, and believe me, fought them off, just trying to stay alive. He did, and then he got the 3-2 mistake, and it's 1-0.
10 runs batted in 10 games in 1 inning. Just a magnificent hitter.
Well, you don't make close to $500 million in this game.
Yeah, that's a few bucks.
Unless you can hit.
That. It's a little more than hitting. It's playing injured just about each and every year. He's had bad legs for a number of years, but for some reason he's able to play through it regardless of what's wrong with him.
Well, that's why he gains so much respect from everybody, because of the fact he has played under those conditions when he didn't have to, because all his money is guaranteed. A couple of years ago, he went out on that field against us in a big series for them, not us, but for them, and could hardly walk. The 0-2 pitch.
Cabrera, 9-time All-Star, played in 159 games last year, was limited to 148 in 2013. He played 161 games in 2011 and 12, and that's despite having terrible ankle problems. A couple of those years he was playing third base, couldn't push off to either side and still play.
Alexi. Two out, and that'll bring up JD Martinez. JD, who is working himself, and he's in that time zone, 26, 27, 28. He's 27. Of when guys who have some power, who have some potential, they either, as a rule, find it or don't. And he's worked himself into that he's finding it. He's figuring it out. Last year, 315, 23 homers, 76 knocked in.
Houston released him out of spring training. Tigers picked him up, sent them to their AAA team, where he hit everything in sight. And they brought him up to the major leagues, and it's been just unbelievable. His OPS since donning that Tiger uniform is over 900. Tigers have hit 11 home runs, and JD has hit 4 of them.
This will be the 27th pitch of this inning. A lot of foul balls by Kinsler and Cabrera. High and foul and Souvenir.
Wind is a factor today, and that wind is blowing pretty much straight in at the Sox dugout. It's the old glory. Occasionally moving across toward the right field corner.
He gone. But they come up with a little duck snort double by Davis, RBI single by Cabrera. They lead it 1-0. Alexei and Flowers. Garner comes in hitting at .278. No homers. He's driven in 1. He's had some success against Sanchez. 5 for 17. Takes first pitch strike. Just tuning in, we had men on second and third, 1 out in the top of the first inning, and could not do anything with it. Goes back to that old adage in baseball: it's not who you play, but when you play them.
And somewhat surprising, I haven't seen a team shift on Gillespie like they're shifting.
That's up high. 1-1 to count.
This is like a LaRoche shift.
We're not playing well, and they are playing very well.
They are that.
And I don't care who you're playing. If that's the case, usually you lose. That's why somebody's got to step up and knock in a big run or two.
Well, the best way to get it done against the Tigers, who still have a formidable starting rotation, is to get in that bullpen at any time, but especially 5th or 6th inning. Get to the middle relief.
High pop up.
Enjoy all the benefits of being a White Sox season ticket holder by purchasing prorated 71-game full or a 23 or 4-game split season ticket plan. Ticket packages during the week of May 5th are available. To purchase season ticket packages and to view a full list of all the benefits, visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000 today.
And if you're scoring along with us, that was Hernan Perez, the third baseman, who caught that ball in short right field. Alexei quickly 2 gone. So with 2 quick outs, here's Tyler hitting at .313, a homer. He's knocked in 4.
Tigers traded for Cespedes knowing that this was the last year of his contract. So he'll have an opportunity to walk if he desires. Still a whole lot of talent in a relatively young left field.
Oh, and 1 to count. Well, age today is, as that's popped up, Cabrera, and that did not take long. 3 pop-ups, and we trail it 1-0. Cespedes, McCann, and Perez to face Chris Sale, who had a very tough first inning. He threw 28 pitches, and most of them under duress after that leadoff bloop double by Rajay Davis. Cespedes 1 for 4 yesterday against our guys, and we'll show you that 1 hit, the only one that Samardzija gave up.
He got an off-speed pitch, and it was the last he saw that day. Took it way back. First home run of the year. After that, Jeff threw a lot of high fastballs and threw a lot of fastballs by him.
Now field straight up, spread out about equidistant. Gillespie well backing off the line at third, and that's popped up right side, and that's going to be a souvenir.
There is a huge amount of room here in Detroit. as spacious center field area as there is in baseball. Chris Sale about ready to deliver pitch number 34, so things have not been easy in the early going for it.
He gone. Gas at 96 upstairs.
Strikeout number 3 on some high heat.
So here's the young catcher, James McCann. Hitting at 182, no homers. He's driven in a pair. Last year at Toledo, though, hit 295 with 7 homers and drove in 54.
Drafted him in the 2nd round in 2011. They liked Holiday as their backup, but they figure McCann is going to be their catcher of the future.
Up right side. Watch out. So Micah makes the catch. 2 down.
And they're going to talk about communication, and I think Avi's telling him, look, if I'm coming in and you're backing out, let me make the play. Unless you can't see it, then let me know. But fortunately, it ended well.
First pitch strike to Hernan Perez, another 24-year-old.
Perez was out of options. It's one of the reasons why they kept him around. He's a very talented young shortstop. They knew that if they tried to sneak him through waivers, there was no way that he would make it. So they kept him on the ball club, and he gives him protection at 3rd, short, and 2nd.
Here you go. Just blew him away. 1-2-3 inning. We're into the 3rd, trailing 1-0. Johnson will lead it off. He'll be followed by Adam Eaton and then Melky Cabrera. Detroit leads it 1-0. RBI single by Miguel Cabrera.
If you can get out against Sanchez, you can steal because he is a lot slower than major league average to the plate. That'll put a lot of pressure on McCann.
2-0 the count.
But the key is going to be to get the base runners aboard to be able to put themselves in a position to run. Good straight change on the 2-0 pitch. And his straight change moves down and away from the left-hand hitters. Backed it up with a straight change.
Yeah, one of his victories against us. The best pitch he had was that straight change.
It's a dandy. He's got 4 quality major league pitches. The only thing really that's been able to stop Sanchez over the course of his career has been he's been on the disabled list 8 times. Other than that, been a pretty good pitcher. 2 years ago, he was 14-8. Last year, an injury-plagued season, just 8-5, but he was disabled a lot.
Back up. Kinsler, Cabrera, 1 out. So here's Adam. He popped up to Perez at third base. Want to know? Three and 0. Don't help him out.
White Sox fans, bring your family and friends out to the ballpark on Saturday, April 25th for Dia de la Familia to celebrate Orgullo Sox. Be one of the first 20,000 fans to enter the ballpark to receive a special Jose Abreu Rookie of the Year blanket presented by Beggar's Pizza. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/familia.
Well, the first walk of the season for Adam Eaton. And here's Melky. He lined a single in the right field.
Major League average for a pitcher once he comes to a stretch position is 1.3 seconds delivering the ball to the plate. Anibal Sanchez is anywhere from 1.46 to 1.63, which is well below Major League average. So he's going to throw to first a lot. He's also most likely going to employ a slide step. But again, those times are kept by scouts and first base coaches around the league.
There he goes. There's the throw, not in time. So he picks up his first stolen base. He's now 1 for 2.
When you have those kind of numbers, even a good throwing catcher is going to be hard pressed to throw anybody out. He gets not only a good jump, but the time it takes to deliver the baseball, and no chance to get eaten.
That's trouble. That's going to tie this ball game up. One shot. Here's the throw to second base, not on the money. So Eaton scores. Oh, Melky's first RBI of the year.
Our Mazda replay, and this is how you do it. You get a base stealer on, he steals second. Melky drives the ball, one hop the wall, and a chance to tack a few more on to Sanchez.
Abreu, he doubled right down the third base line, putting Cabrera on third back in the first inning with just one out, and we could not score. As he looks at that pitch nicely, 1-0 the count.
That is the first extra base hit that Melky has recorded wearing that Sox uniform.
One to count.
Tigers outfield shading him as an off-field hitter. The huge gap is in left center.
That's into short center field. Davis coming on and cannot make the catch, so Melky now will move into third on the single by Abreu.
That's the advantage of a power hitter over a guy who's just a slap singles hitter, is that the outfield has to play deeper. He hits this ball off the end of the bat, and you take a look at Rajai Davis in center field. He's not quite as good as Anthony Gose, and he actually breaks back a step before coming in. Cannot right the ship in time, so runners at the corners with a chance to take the lead.
Yeah, Gose had a chance to be really a good player.
They made a good trade. They gave up their number one prospect, who now is playing second base every day for Toronto.
So here's Adam. Takes ball one. He struck out. Got him on a high fastball. He's got the count, 2-0.
Second baseman they traded to get Anthony Gose, Devin Travis, sitting .375 with Toronto with 3 home runs and 12 driven in the early going. So it looks like both teams made a very good trade.
Helps him out right there. Well, it's 2-1. Big gap in right center. That ball hit hard, way back. You can put it on the board. Yes. A 3-run blast by Adam LaRoche, and the Sox lead it 4-1.
Third home run. RBIs number 5, 6, and 7 for Adam. For a left-hand hitter, this is not a difficult park to hit home runs. It's only 330 down the line. He got an inside fastball and rode it out of the park.
And kept it fair. That's what's impressive about that. Breaking ball strike to Abbey. Abbey grounded out to short. And that's sliced into right field. Martinez is there, makes the catch. 2 down.
We talked all spring, and we've been talking the early season about how important it is for the table setters to get on to set the table for the big boys, and that's what happened this inning with 1 out. The Eaton walk, stolen base, double by Cabrera. The table setters, Eaton and Cabrera, both have scored a run.
Gillespie popped up to his counterpart. Hernan Perez in short right field. Now to play left side. 4-5-1 for our guys, 1-2-0 for their guys here in game 2 of this 3-game set.
Connor Gillespie with a rare smile. I'll be happy about the 4 spot put up this inning.
High pop up. Sanchez says, I'll take it. And he does. But some damage is done. The 1-out walk, the double by Cabrera, the single by Abreu, and then the 3-run bomb by Adam LaRoche. It is a 4-1 Sox lead.
Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent, serving the area for 37 years. To join the nation, visit jeffbook.com because Nationwide is on your side.
Tiger half of the 3rd inning. Sox lead at 4-1. It'll be Iglesias, then back to the top of the order with Rajai Davis and Ian Kinsler. Just tuning in, as we mentioned, Chris Sale had a very tough first inning through 28 pitches. And that ball base hit into left field.
Iglesias came over from the Boston Red Sox in the 3-way deal that sent Avisail Garcia to our ball club. Jake Peavy to the Red Sox. And Iglesias, who had 2 stress fractures, 1 in each shin, keeping him out most of last year, is back with a vengeance.
2 for 4 yesterday, 1 for 1 today. And here's Rajai Davis, who had a little duck snort double down the right field line to start off the first inning. Line drive, 1 out. Well, you're talking about Chris's first inning. He threw 11 pitches in that inning. They were either 97 or 98 miles an hour.
Well, he reached back and tried to put away Cabrera. with Davis in scoring position and Cabrera being one of the world's best hitters, just fought off good pitch after good pitch before finally just getting one out over the plate and doing what he's always done, driving in a run.
Kinsler struck out on a good slider. Takes that fastball at 94. And the count 0-2. Outfield slightly to the right for the 32-year-old veteran. Last year drove in a career high 92 runs for this team.
Came over from the Texas Rangers in a deal that sent Prince Fielder to the Rangers. Fielder had neck surgery, was lost for the season last year, but he is back and healthy this year. The Tigers are very happy with his deal, however.
LaRoche, no return. Nice play by Adam.
Adam is just an exceptional fielder. Now this ball is hit so hard there really is no chance for Chris Sale to get to first base. He thinks about it. So with the inability of Micah Johnson, he can't get there. Chris can't get there. And you get the force.
So here is Cabrera, that RBI single. 3-2 off-speed pitch and just poked it into center field.
2012 with the Washington Nationals, Elmer Roche won a Gold Glove at first base.
I was watching batting practice today, and his little son was out there with him fielding ground balls. He's right-handed, but it looks like he's got a chance to be a Gold Glover too. Got some real good moves.
Can't start him too young. And it runs in the family. His father was a major league pitcher.
Left-handed pitcher who was very good and one of the great guys in the game. Dave LaRoche.
Dave became a closer later in his career. Had a pretty good one.
2-1 pitch. Just a decent lead by Kinsler. So the first walk issue. By Chris, and that'll bring up Martinez. Victor grounded out to short. Good pitch, did not get it.
Victor, 36 years old, signed a 4-year free agent contract at $68 million to stay with the Tigers after just a brief dalliance of free agency. He loves it here. This is where he'll finish it.
Another pretty good pitch, didn't get it, and the count 2-0. Well, they had to sign it.
You got to have some protection, especially a guy who can hit from the left side, protection behind Miguel Cabrera.
They had to sign it.
He had one of his most productive, arguably his most productive season last year.
Yeah, if you don't sign him, it's going to put a lot of pressure on J.D. Martinez, who's not going to protect him, who's not going to protect Cabrera. So in essence, in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, going down the stretch in close ball games, you negate Miguel Cabrera.
Well, he's not going to get an at bat, but he will with this guy hitting behind him.
Better believe it. They get the force, and they retire Victor for the 2nd time. And we're into the 4th, leading by 3. Alexei Ramirez will lead it off for us here in the top of the 4th. Alexei 0 for 1. He popped up to Yoenis Cespedes in left field. Taking all the way. Looks at fastball strike. 4-5-1 for our guys. 1-3-0 for their guys. Breaking ball misses. 1-1.
After tying for the major league lead in runs batted in spring training, Alexei was the team RBI leader until Adam LaRoche unloaded last inning. Alexei's got 5.
That's fair ball. Cespedes. Now ball gets by him, so Alexei is going to pull up because he knows the arm of Cespedes.
With nobody out, you'd like to be adventuresome, but Cespedes can probably throw it from that 345 sign all the way to third base. Sanchez tries to get up and in, and Alexei with very quick hands drills it by Perez. No chance for him. And as this one gets away from Cespedes, he jumps on it pretty quickly.
Flowers.
Tyler trying to get the ball to the right side.
And there's some people that were saying that Alexei came out of the tag too quick yesterday. Here's the angle that we did not have, but shows you that indeed he stayed there. Made the tag, but look at Honora. He was in perfect position, right on top of the plate, just several feet away, and blew it. That ball deep into right field, over the head of Martinez. So Alexei moves into third base as he was tagging, as he should have been. So back-to-back doubles.
It's a good base running play by Alexei because he's really trapped here. If Martinez catches the ball, you don't want to get doubled up. And he's a step or two from second base, and as it turned out, that ball bounded right back to J.D. Martinez. Got the ball in there quickly, and Anibal Sanchez, who was 2-4 lifetime against our Sox, is getting blasted. You see Alexei there. He had to go back, tag up, thinking maybe Martinez makes a catch. As it turned out, he didn't. So the fourth two-base hit early in his ball game, and Tyler did the right thing, turned into gold. He was going to right field, just drove it over the head of Martinez. So Jeff Jones has had his say. And the bullpen for the first time today for the Tigers up and going, and if there is any game plan against them, it's jump on the starter and get into that pen, which has been effective early in the season, but isn't one of their strong points.
Here's Micah Johnson. Takes ball one. Attaboy. Good eye. First pitch in the sequence, always big. Infield in, outfield swung around to the left. And the count 2-0.
Lane Hardy throwing in the pen.
Taking all the way, and the count 2-1. Nice and easy, right back through the middle.
That one shaved off the outside corner, so a pretty decent pitch as Sanchez has gotten to the 60 pitch mark with nobody out here in the fourth.
Two-two pitch. And it's full.
Tried a backdoor breaking ball on the outside corner, but that one stayed as it drifted wide.
Sanchez's third start of the season. Payoff pitch.
That was a straight change, and that was a tough pitch to foul off. Not looking for a straight change on 3-2. He got one, was able to stay alive, however.
And that's ball four. That will load him up.
Here's our Xfinity Speed replay. And it came after the first walk of the year by Adam Eaton. He steals second base. And then scores the first run of the game on a ringing double by Melky Cabrera. The Speed replay is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Adam 0 for 1 with that walk, that stolen base, and run scored. Sox packed with Sox, nobody out.
An excellent opportunity behind Chris Sale to blow this one open here in the fourth inning.
To the count.
Lexi Tyler and huge speed at first base and Micah Johnson.
Corners in close, right at the cut of the grass. And that hit him. So it's a 5-1 Sox lead. No, he said he foul tipped it.
Oh, he's sending him to first.
Okay, good. Good.
At least I'm pretty sure he's sending him to first. The way Robin is reacting, he called it a foul ball. Yep, that was a signal by Jeff Kellogg. He said it hit the bat. That was a very painful hit of the bat. Now they're going to take a look at it. So the call on the field is a foul ball.
A foul ball. We should be, and also we're supposed to be getting and should be getting an email immediately from New York. All the announcers at this game. Oh, exactly what's happening. What the call is on the field and what's happening.
My iPad says cannot get mail. So do they have a way to get through when the iPad says you cannot get mail?
Your iPad's worse than the one I had last year.
Yeah, this is made in the 40s.
I got the new Air 2.
How's it?
Awesome.
How's that doing for you?
It says LaRoche's 3-run homer. And we'll take one more look at that last angle. And he calls him out.
Now he calls him out for swinging at it?
No, a foul tip it hung on to.
Okay. Well, a painful way to have the at-bat end. And now Anibal Sanchez asks and receives a chance to throw a few warm-up pitches.
Well, what was he doing the whole time they were reviewing it?
Standing there.
Yeah. So here's Melky. Melky a single, an RBI double, and a run scored. Well, now they're 1 out. And that is souvenir time.
There's a few key at bats during the course of a game, this being one of them. You drive home a few more here, you make things a whole lot more difficult for the Tigers and possibly knock Sanchez out of the game.
Count evens at 1. Yeah, something right here can change the whole personality of this game. either positive or negative. And that's out of play left side. So Alexi at third, Flowers at second, Micah Johnson at first, one out and a 1-2 count. Come on, Melky. There's a base hit. Thank you very much. That's going to score one as Tyler's going to be held at third. Now it's a 5-1 ball game. Third hit for Cabrera.
Second run driven into the game, second run driven into the year as he reaches down, gets a curveball almost off the top of the dirt, and dumps it into right field.
That's what you call swinging and hitting it like he threw it.
It was a good at bat.
Yes, it was. If you try to do too much with that pitch right there, it's going to be foul or you're going to swing and miss it. So here's Abreu. He is 2 for 2, a double, a single, and he also has scored a run. Five, 8-1 for our guys, 1-3-0 for their guys. Boy, they have, McCann and Sanchez really slowed this thing down. Count evens at 1. There's a slow hook.
That's the slowest pitch that Sanchez has thrown all day.
73.
Very much surprising, Jose. Chris Sale at best asked for a couple of extra pitches. He's been sitting around for a long time, what with the protracted inning and the appeal.
Good eye. 2-2. And that's a souvenir right straight back.
Sanchez got away with a fastball. He tried to throw it inside. Didn't quite get it there. That was very much in Jose's sweet spot. He just fouled it straight back.
That ball hit deep in the left field. Stay in the air. Stretch. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. A grand slam for Abreu, and it's a 9-1 Sox lead.
He made a mistake to pitch before and got away with it, and that time he rolled a little slider over the middle of the plate and didn't come close to getting away with it. Third home run for Abreu. He's now driven in 6. This is the second career grand slam and the thorough pounding of Anibal Sanchez. As you can see, that breaking ball stayed over the middle of the plate, and Jose just unloads on it. So Sanchez's day is done, as the Sox have rediscovered the offense, and we'll step out and be back after these messages. Organization signed as a minor league free agent. There you look at the numbers. In the early season, he's on for the 3rd time.
And that's outside. Adam LaRoche, who is 1 for 2, a big 3-run homer last inning. That made it a 4-1 ball game.
This outing is not going to do much for the Sanchez earned run average. 3 1/3. 9 runs on 9 hits.
Chops that one foul, so the count 1-2.
Howdy last year was pretty good for Detroit. He spent most of the year at Toledo, coming up to Detroit for 38 appearances with a 254 earned run average.
Chopper back through the middle, and that's going to be a base hit for Adam.
Ian Kinsler tried to invent a play. He wanted the backhand flip to Iglesias and then to throw to first, but the ball trickled out of the glove. See Kinsler realizing he can't do anything with it. So Adam with a base hit.
So here's Avi. Avi's 0 for 2. High pop up right side, foul. And it's going to bounce into the seats for a souvenir.
Going into today, the Tigers had it all their own way here at Comerica Park. Things a bit different in the early going this afternoon.
Nine, 10-1 for us, 1-3-0 for them. That ball just ripped out there into left field.
Hardy tries to get inside. This was a cutter in. Didn't get in. Former teammates talking it over at first base. Two pretty big guys standing over there.
And here's the ninth hitter to come to the plate here. Connor Gillespie, who has popped up to third and popped up to the pitcher. Just slaps at that one. Well, it's just nice to see a little offensive output here, especially against a good pitcher like Anibal Sanchez. Ball gets away, so everybody's going to advance. That'll be a wild pitch. All right, pick him up, Connor. Let's have a little fun.
Again, tried to backhand it. Probably not what he would like to do. Trickled away. And they move up 90 feet. Now the infield in to cut off that all-important 10th run.
There, he got away with a mistake. A little too quick. And the count evens at 2. And there's a broken bat single. So Adams going to score. It's 10-1 with Avi in the third.
That fastball well inside, but with a short, quick stroke, Connor is able to get the good part of the bat on it. Jeff Jones is coming out to have a word with Blaine Hardy, who's not faring much better than Anibal Sanchez fared in the early going. It's one of those times where the pitching coach comes out and says, son, we need some innings from you. If you can find a way to get them, you can save our bullpen.
So here's the man who started the inning off, Alexei, with a double. Outfield spread out slightly to the left as that pitches ball 1. Change up. Good motion. Avi tagging. But this will get it back in. It's 11-1.
RBI number 6 for Lexi.
That'll bring up Tyler. Tyler trying to get Alexei earlier this inning over to third. It went over the head of J.D. Martinez in right field for back-to-back doubles.
That was very good situational hitting because he was going to the right side the whole time. And it turned into gold by doing the right thing.
That ball into right field. And that'll retire the side, but not before a big cookie number goes up on that board. A 7 spot. We leave it 11-1.
Future Night, celebrating the 30th anniversary of the hit film. Activities include a chance to visit the DeLorean time machine and a post-game fireworks show set to the Back to the Future soundtrack, presented by UI Health. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. Back to the Future Night.
J.D. Martinez will lead it off. The 11-1 Sox here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
And you absolutely have to go out there thinking it's a 0-0 game because, number one, the only thing you worry about is so much time on the bench in that long half inning that you lose command.
Three and 0. And a full count.
So far this at bat, he's kept everything away from Martinez.
And that's going foul. Right side is wrong shape.
That one well hit, but fortunately slicing in front of the pole.
That's deep. And gone. It's 11-2. Fifth homer for Martinez.
He He joins Cabrera in the 10 RBI club. He gets this one up in the air. It's a fastball, and that entire at bat he spent middle away. That one leaves the yard.
So here's Cespedes. He struck out on a high fastball. Pretty good pitch, didn't get it. Flowers turns around and says something to Kellogg. That pitch is popped up. Watch out. Now he takes charge. That a boy, Adam. 1 out.
Very difficult play for Alexi as he's going out. He's looking up into the high sky. There's not a cloud in the sky, bright sunshine. And Adam Eaton, a much easier play for him, finally calls everybody off and takes control of it. See them all converging, and it would have been most difficult for Alexi. Not a cloud in the skies. They've all moved off on this bright, sunny Saturday afternoon.
Well, that at bat by J.D. Martinez, not to take anything away from him because he still had to do it, but that was more or less a freebie because once he fell behind 2-0, you know what's coming the rest of the way. And when he gets to 3-2, you know what's coming. But you get those at bats throughout the course of the season, with the score being, in that case, 11-1.
He's also off to just a great start. 5 home runs.
McCann fouls that one back. Just tuning in, they scored 1 in the first. RBI single by Cabrera. We scored 4 in the third and 7 in the fourth.
Our organization originally drafted McCann in the 31st round in 2008, but he didn't sign.
Lexi. Two down. And that'll bring up Hernan Perez. He also struck out swinging at a fastball. That's into left. We got a man there. That's the leadoff homer, and we're into the fifth, leading 11-2.
and as you would understand, there's been a lot of great lefties in baseball history. But on the list, with a minimum of 500 innings, Chris Sale is absolutely at the top of it in strikeout to walk ratio. Over 4 1/4 strikeouts to every walk. Billy Wagner, that hard-throwing lefty out of the Houston organization, is second. So magnificent control and great stuff has characterized the early parts of Chris Sale's career.
One and one account to Micah Johnson. Micah. Oh for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Well, not too many Chris Sales come along.
Now he's deceptive, and his stuff is electric.
The last guy I saw that really reminds me a lot of Chris Sale when he first came up with the Angels was Frank Tanana. Had about the same kind of stuff. Threw about the same speed. Had that wicked slider. There's ball 4. And of course, Tanana later on hurt his arm, became a crafty, cunning and guile left-hander.
Well, he was still a very competent pitcher after the devastating arm injury that took away all his velocity because he had great control.
Adam fouls it back. Adam 0 for 2 with a walk, stolen base, and a run scored. But the people that you really have to talk to about a Frank Tanana or a Chris Sale are the hitters. As Cespedes in foul ground makes the catch. Hitters will tell you, when you talk to them about how is it to face Chris Sale, they just give you a little smile.
Can't be too comfortable, especially if you're a lefty.
Talking about Frank Tanana, he started the first game ever on this day in 1991 at US Cellular Field. And of course, that was Blackjack McDowell. And I was thinking about Samardzija yesterday. Last evening, as a matter of fact. If you missed that game, he was just outstanding. And the last time I've seen a Sox pitcher with that kind of mound presence, that panache, so to speak, elan, was Blackjack McDowell. Only Samardzija's got better stuff than Jack had. Jack, 2-time 20-game winner with us.
What was so impressive about Samardzija yesterday is he had some big problems in the first, pitched his way out of it. Had some big problems in the third, pitched his way out of it. Some big problems in the fifth, and pitched his way out of it. So it wasn't an easy performance for him, as the Tiger offense, which has been all world, put a whole lot of pressure on him, but the best they could do was the 1 home run by Cespedes on 8 hits. He didn't walk anybody, fanned 7. Just a great performance.
As that's popped back and into the seats.
There's a look at Jeff. Feeling pretty good about the outing. Wanting to come away with a W. He had eluded him.
Yeah, he's got that swagger. Like a gunslinger out there on that mound. And that's out of play. And that's smoked into center field. So Melky with his 4th hit of the ball game.
The big blow of this game, the 4th drive of the game, was a grand slam home run. 3rd home run of the year for Jose. That drove Anibal Sanchez from the mound.
First pitch strike. Jose, besides that grand slam, has the single, a double. 2nd career grand slam. Pulled a string on him.
I don't know if Jose is looking for a triple, but he is a triple away from the cycle. And this happens to be a particularly good triples park.
Well, the over and under on that is about 89 to 1.
You get somebody to give you that? Angel Nesbitt.
There's a chopper 2 hopper. Can't get him. Kinsler having just a little trouble finding the ears on it.
Jose hustling down the line. Iglesias gets Kinsler the ball, but as you can see, just an eyelash of hesitation, and he was able to beat the play.
So here's Adam. He's 2 for 3. And he had the big hit. Back in the 3rd in a 1-1 tie with 2 men aboard. Didn't take long.
That was his 3rd home run, and he now leads the team with 7 runs batted in. Ryu and Ramirez second with 6.
There's a bullet by
I don't blame the big man for ducking out of the way of that one. That came with overspin to get a piece of him. And he figures, hey, look, it's going to be a 12-1 game. Boy, this is a rocket.
He looked like El Cordobés on that one.
That's right. Let me get out of here.
Olay. So Hardy will depart. Sox lead at 12-2. And we'll be back.
University of Chicago Medicine Comer Children's Hospital. Tickets start as low as $5 and parking is just $10. White Sox and Comer Children's Hospital teaming up for kids' health. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/Sundays or calling 866-SOX-GAME. So Angel Nesbitt comes on for the third time. He has given up nothing to this point. He inherits runners at second and third with 2 outs here in the fifth.
And that's all the way back to the screen. Bounces right back to McCann.
Occasionally on a wild pitch, you do catch a break. And instead of another run scoring, looked like a trampoline back to McCann.
Fouls that one away to even the count at 1. So Nesbitt, 6'1", 237 pounds, out of Aragua, Venezuela.
Signed by the Tigers back in 2009. The non-drafted free agent.
Iglesias got him, but we pick up one. We're halfway home, leading by 10. Jose Iglesias leads it off, takes ball 1.
Tigers figure whatever they get from Iglesias is icing on the cake because they love his glove. He doesn't hit very much. They figure to have a whole lot of hitting on a team that led the major leagues in batting average last year, and there's really not much drop off in sight this year.
And he's leading the team in hitting this year.
Fans, the First Merit Bank Stadium Club offers breathtaking views of U.S. Cellular Field and delicious food and beverage options for you to enjoy prior and during White Sox games. Purchase a First Merit Bank Stadium Club membership by calling 312-674-1000.
So here's Davis. Had that little soft duck snort double down the right field line, leading off the bottom of the first, and came around to score on the base hit by Cabrera.
Pretty amazing when you look at Chris Sale and how he started this very young season and realize that he missed all of spring training as far as pitching to major leaguers. Easy play for Connor Gillespie. But Sale, and the good thing about what they were able to do with him, and something devised by Herm Schneider and the training staff, was keep him throwing from his knees, making sure that the arm stayed supple, no muscle atrophy, making sure they took the pressure off the ankle. And so when he came back ready, and he's looked terrific in his 2 starts.
I'm just glad after that first inning. If you're just tuning in, he threw 28 pitches in that first inning. 11 of them were 97 and 98 miles an hour. It was a very tough, strenuous first inning, and now with this big lead, he's got a chance to just put it a little bit on cruise control.
I think it's a much different philosophy. It's a 1-0, 1-1 game for 3 or 4 more innings, but the offense certainly came alive today, and in the third they started to make it more comfortable, and in the fourth they put it away.
Well, in the third, where that 3-run homer made it a 4-1 ball game, as you well know, the philosophy still is you got to go out there and just treat it like it's nothing. But then when the 7th spot went up there, that changes the whole platform.
A different story. You really can't cruise too much in the major leagues. It's just that you're not throwing with the same intensity, the same extension.
That's why you see a lot of hitters who are very, very good in blowout games.
As you can see, after the first, things got a whole lot better. And you bring up a really good point, because those hitters that fatten up on the 4 and 5 starters in those games that are blowout games, there's a lot of money to be made if you're a good hitter. But the guys that the players really respect are those guys that are going to come through in the 1-1 games against the 1, 2, and 3 starters, where it really gets tough in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Those are the guys that are of ultimate value to the ball club.
Well, that's how I judge hitters. How good are you in the 7th, 8th, and 9th? Because in a close ball game, you go out there, you're going to be facing some of the best stuff they got out there.
They're going to bring in their premier setup men and closers, or the starter is going to be so good that he's got enough stuff to still stay in the ball game.
Hit him on the fist. A good pitch. A good inning. 1, 2, 3, and we're into the 6th. Alexei and Flowers. Nesbitt, third Tiger pitcher. Connor 1 for 3 with an RBI.
This is one of the ways how you work yourself into essential positions in a bullpen situation in the major leagues. They start you in games like they're using Hardy and Nesbitt. Games that are out of hand early. See if you can get out major league hitters. Judge the stuff. Let you work in those games for a while because they have a number of guys that they throw in games where the team has the lead late. And this is where you have to show you can do it. So although it seems, in a 12-2 game they put me in, they're looking for a spark for maybe down the road or if they have an injury. And all pitchers aspire to be in that 3 or 4 man rotation in the games where the team is ahead instead of behind.
1 out. That's one reason I love to see young pitchers work out of the bullpen when they first come up to the major leagues. That way you can pick and choose. You got a better chance of putting them in situations where they can succeed.
Yeah, it's been a lot of good teams, and we talk about Baltimore all the time. But
that's the first one that always comes to mind.
I mean, they did that a lot. They took their younger pitchers, worked them out of the pen so they can protect them somewhat. Don't throw them the Lions right away. And make sure they get their feet wet in the major leagues, get experience, feel what it's like with a third deck instead of the minor league 2-deck ballparks with the good lights and the crowds and everything else that goes with it.
Over the years, I've seen a lot of situations that were just really unfair to young pitchers. I mean, we had the number 1 draft choice, Scott Ruffcorn. And they put him in a big race we were having with Cleveland, which had a heck of a ball club, as did we. And they started him, and I really couldn't believe it, that they were going to start him in that game against Cleveland in Cleveland. Well, he never got out of the first inning, so to speak. He never recovered.
Well, Texas, to draw crowds, brought up the young Texan David Clyde.
Yeah.
And as an 18-year-old, they put him right in, started him in a major league game right away. Never had his feet under him as far as professional baseball. He got pounded early and never came close to realizing the potential that he had when they put him there. And had they let him pay his dues, get him a few innings, or put him in a non-essential situation, it might have turned out differently. We'll never know.
Bobby Sproul with the Red Sox. They started him in that infamous Boston Massacre when the Yankees came in there and swept him in the 4th game. They started him in the 4th game. They had Mike Therese and Louis Tiant who wanted to take the ball that day. Instead, they gave it to Sproul. He never got out of the first inning. And he went to spring training next year and had trouble hitting the cage.
That's really sad.
It is sad.
When you rush guys emotionally, they might be physically ready. Emotionally, they're not.
Well, Ruffcorn physically was ready, as Bobby Sproul was physically left-hander, a little left-hander, was physically ready. As Tyler draws the base on balls. Tyler now that double and run scored back in the 4th inning.
This is kind of what Robin had in mind when he decided to hit Micah Johnson in the 9th spot. Was he's patient. He does foul off a lot of pitches. He's walked twice today and scored both times that he's walked. We haven't seen yet the base stealing aspect of Micah Johnson, but we will see that.
One and one to count.
Tiger pitching staff that was leading the world in just about every category coming into this game was at 1-1-2-3 inning. That coming in the second.
That is a fair ball, and that's going to be a base hit.
Well, Nesbitt went to tag him, which is a pretty good idea because you're not going to throw it to first. The problem is if you don't have the baseball, the tag is fairly useless.
The phantom tag doesn't work anymore, huh?
No, when the ball is laying at your feet, no. And they do give him a base hit.
So 2 on 2 out, and here's Adam Eaton, who's 0 for 3 with a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored.
And once again, here comes a man who's had his exercise today, Jeff Jones, because the bullpen is up and going and he wants to give them time to get loose.
Yeah, there's so many variables that come into play when you're talking about rookies breaking in. What cities they break in. Obviously, New York is the toughest with the Yankees and the Mets to break in rookies because of all the intense pressure.
There's a school of thought also that you want to see your young pitchers break in on the road. Less pressure than a home game in front of a home crowd if he doesn't do well. But today there's a lot of guys come in this league and they come in with the attitude Chris Sale came in with. He's not afraid of anything or anybody, and he goes out and just gets the job done from the beginning.
Well,
that's the exception.
That's the
as
exception
opposed to the rule.
There's no question. That's the exception. Also, it's a lot easier, as we talk about the cities, to break in a small market situation than the large market. But with the draft and the way the situation is set up now, the scouts never have an opportunity to find out anything remotely close to the psychological posture that these young athletes are in.
Well, they used to be able to go into the house.
Exactly. Can't do
of,
that
of
now.
The guys that
you go talk to their agents.
Right. You used to go into the house, used to be able to talk to all of their friends. This doesn't work quite that way anymore.
No.
So you're going to find out a whole lot about. And the grading scale is 20 to 80. That's how they scout in the major leagues. 70 for power would be big power. But you're going to learn a whole lot about the power, the speed, and everything else that goes into it physically. But mentally and emotionally, it's going to be tough.
Nice play by Kinsler. They get to force a second. So that'll be tired of the side. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Still leading big. here in their half of the 6th inning. Starts him off with a changeup. Miguel, an RBI single in the first. He walked in the third. Sox lead it 12-2. 12-15-1 for us. 2-4-0 for them. Foul tipped. And the count 2-2. If you're just joining us, they scored 1 in the first. We scored 4 in the third, highlighted by a 3-run homer off the bat of Adam LaRoche. He gone. 1 out.
That was very good movement on a fastball low and away off the plate. He set him up inside and put him away with this gem.
Here's Victor. Twice he has grounded out to Alexei. Two down.
Chris probably feels like asking for the game ball. He's gotten Victor Martinez to ground out to the left side 3 straight times. This was a guy hitting .517 against Chris coming in, but Chris has made good pitches on him. However, Victor's knee is just still not the same, and this is his first game back. He missed 4 of them, and he's not 100%. You can tell in his walk, in his run, and just in his setup at the plate.
Here's JD, a strikeout and a homer. Homer into the right field seats. Change up. Finale tomorrow. Jose Quintana against Shane Green. Very impressive young right-hander. And that game will be over Comcast Sportsnet. And we return home.
Get Cleveland coming back, and then Kansas City coming to town.
3 with Cleveland and 4 with the Royals.
.100 pitches for Chris. But since the first, not many of them under duress.
He gone. Backdoored him. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 7th.
Melky Cabrera 4 for 4 with a couple of runs and 2 driven in. Jose Abreu 3 for 4 with a grand slam, 4 driven in. He scored a pair. Adam LaRoche, who started it off with the long ball, 3 for 4, a couple of runs and 4 driven in. Doesn't get too much better than that in the middle of the order. And Tom Gorzolani comes in the ball game on for the 3rd time. He was a starting pitcher early in his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Very similar to the career path of Zach Duke.
First pitch strike to Melky. 3 singles, a double, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored, as you just saw. Oh, and 2 the count.
Join Chicago White Sox charities for the annual garage sale on May 30th at U.S. Cellular Field. Take home a piece of White Sox history, including game-used equipment, jerseys, hats, and much more. Entrance to the garage sale is the price that I love, free. For more information, visit WhiteSoxCharities.org.
That's into center field. They got a man there, and that's quickly out number 2. Yeah, you're getting to be more and more like Wimpy each and every passing year.
Love hamburgers and hot dogs, but Wimpy eats.
Wimpy's motto is, if you paid for it, it costs too much.
Eats a little more Polish food than I can eat. But the White Sox did have a catcher by the name of Bill Naharodny. You might remember Bill.
Sure.
And he was from just down the road in Hamtramck, Michigan. And his family was kind enough to invite a few of the players over to his house for an authentic Polish meal. It was delicious, but I think I just digested it 2 days ago. I think I just fully digested it a couple days ago. It was a bit heavy.
Hamtramck. That's outside.
Wimpy was from a very good baseball family, and he was
great athlete.
He was a terrific athlete himself.
Wimpy was terrific. Oh, they're all of them.
Yep. Zach Putnam loosening in a pen.
Adam, 3 for 4, 4 RBIs. Really put the game in a 1-1 tie. That 3-run homer. Big hit of the ball game. Sort of opened things up. And then, of course, the grand slam the next inning by Abreu, just as he gets so a nice inning right there for Gorzolani. And we'll go to the 7th inning stretch, leading by 10.
Chris Sale's afternoon is over, and Zach Putnam comes into the ball game. Zach would like to get a little more consistency in that splitter. There you look at this year. Last year he was awfully tough, however. One of the leaders out of that bullpen, as the splitter was magnificent just about all year long. So if he gets command of that, things are going to work out pretty well for him, and he comes in to knock a little of the rust off. Make sure that splitter is going down and stays in the zone.
Here's Yoenis Cespedes. 0 for 2, strikeout, and a pop up to center field. There's the strike. Outfield straight up and spread out. A little bit low.
Chris Sale went 6. Gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, walked just 1, and struck out 6. It's Al Albuquerque loosening up. And he is one of the guys that Brad Ausmus will use to close things down in the 8th inning to get it to their closer, Soria. Albuquerque, a very valuable man with a great slider.
He gone. One out. Connor on the move. Nice play. 2 down.
Join the 2015 Sox Pride Club for exclusive monthly ticket opportunities featuring locked-in seating locations along with game day audio, membership gifts, and much more, all for just $29.95. Visit SoxPrideClub.com to join today.
Hernan Perez takes ball 1. Perez has struck out and then lined out hard to left.
Right off his foot. And the young man has a souvenir and a congratulations. Bringing your glove to the ballpark is a very good thing to do.
Ate him up. Nice inning for Zach. And we'll go to the 8th, leading 12-2.
3 for 5 with a grand slam and a double to go with it. 15-4 in the hit department and 12-2 in the scoring column. Brought to you by the Honda Dream Garage Sales Event, now at your Honda dealer.
There's a chopper. Nice play by Perez. So Avi's retired. He's now 1 for 5 with a single and a run score.
Albuquerque comes into this.
Check that. Romine is at third.
It's Romine at third. Perez has shifted to first with Avila behind the plate. And Albuquerque on for the 5th time. His ERA just under 4. He does have a couple of holds, and opponents hitting just 143 because of that excellent slider that he throws.
Connor. Anthony goes into center field. Softly hit, knocked down, picked up, and he throws him out to Avila over at first. McCann still behind the plate. Two down. Rajay Davis moves into left field. Alexei 1 for 3 with an RBI.
Since 2011, Al Albuquerque has averaged over 12 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is good by any measuring stick. It's because of that slider you just saw.
Alexei fouls it. Souvenir right side.
It's Kyle Graybeck loosening up in the pen.
$39,877.
Al lost the grip on that one. Sailed it over Alexi's head. One to throw a slider.
Got a little underneath that one. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Just tuning in, we scored 4 in the third to take a 4-1 lead. They had scored 1 in the first, a base hit by Cabrera. And we scored 7 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. Out and around it. Big 3-run homer by Adam LaRoche in the fourth. A grand slam by Abreu. I should say in the third, and grand slam in the fourth by Abreu. High foul and seats. The 25-year-old right-hander we're going to be facing tomorrow, Shane Green. 2-0, has yet to be scored on in 16 innings.
Let's just hope the weatherman cooperates with that one. Especially after this offensive output today. Let's assume the hitters get back and stay hot.
There's a good chance that we will not get that one in tomorrow, according to. And there's ball 4. According to my weather channel.
Come back a couple more times. We'll see what they decide to do here. Had a good crowd yesterday. It was a rare Friday afternoon game, and they drew over 33,000. Almost 40,000 here this afternoon on just a picture perfect afternoon for baseball.
Ball hit hard. So Alexei will pull up at second. Tyler hit that one right on the money. He also doubled back in the 4th inning.
Perez is taking over for Kinsler, and he wanted no part of that one.
Good. They're going to give him a base hit. Micah 1 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 runs scored. He's had a good day. Gives him the strike. And the count 1-2. Got him. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, leading by 10.
card. Only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to www.wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Member FDIC. So Bonifacio checks in the game. J.B. Shuck is in left field. Gordon Beckham takes over at shortstop.
Jose Iglesias, 1 for 2, will lead it off. Takes ball 1.
Graybeck, the third Sox pitcher. Sale went 6. Putnam an impressive 1. Now Graybeck. Tough outing against the Royals in his first outing.
Emilio. 1 down. Here's Rajay Davis. Led off the game with a little soft duck snort double just inside right field line. Came around to score on Cabrera's single. A ball and 2 strikes. High pop up. Gordon. 2 down.
Andrew Romine is going to get his first at bat ever coming in defensively.
Takes ball 1. Checking some other scores for you. After 6 in Minnesota, Cleveland leading the Twinkies 2-1. Top of the 9th in Washington, 5-3 Phillies. Bottom of the 10th. The game is over now. Toronto beats Atlanta in 10, 6-5. Atlanta now 7-3 on the young season. That's hit right at him and can't make it. Takes it on a short hop, so the 2-out single.
And Alex Avila comes on.
Cabrera was 1 for 2 with that RBI.
Avila started the game yesterday. He had a sacrifice. It pushed Romine, who was on the pinch run, into third base, and Iglesias scored him with a winning run.
There's a strike.
Very little Tiger fan. Not enjoying this one at all.
Well, we certainly are.
Indeed.
Bottom of the sixth in St. Louis. Cardinals leading Cincinnati 3-1. Cincinnati 5-5. St. Louis 6-3. Two balls and a strike.
When this one ends, barring a complete collapse, Tigers will have lost 2 games this year, and Anibal Sanchez will have lost them both.
Three and one. It has been a long time, if ever, that I recall coming into Detroit this early and enjoying this kind of weather. So they walk Sevilla.
Jabba Chamberlain will come on to pitch tonight. Nick Castellanos is coming on to pinch hit.
Takes first pitch strike. Once again, a reminder, make your plan. Be with us tomorrow. Comcast Sportsnet. Jose Quintana against Shane Green, 25-year-old right-hander who's 2-0. There's a base hit. Making a wave runner around. There's a throw not in time, and it's a 12-3 ball game.
Castellanos comes on to drive in a run. This one on the inner portion of the plate. And no chance at all for Shuck. Castellanos with his 4th run driven in.
And here's JD. He won for 3, a home run. Way back. We got a man there, makes a catch, and that'll retire the side. But they come up with one. We're into the 9th, leading by 9.
On demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. So Jabba Chamberlain comes into the game. They let him go and then signed him back when they needed a reliever last year with him. 2-5 and 69 appearances and 3.57 ERA, so it wasn't all that bad. And his outing against the Indians early, he got through it. When he came up with the Yankees in 2008, he was really something.
Emilio Ghosts. He can get it. He can scamper out there in center field.
Sinking line drive that looked like a base hit, but Anthony Gose is an outstanding center fielder.
And a bit of news from Kansas City. Royals place Greg Holland on the DL with pectoral strain.
Well, it'll probably move back Wade Davis into that closer role.
J.B. Shuck takes ball one. Two and 0. There's a strike. There's a shot base hit. So here's Abreu. Jose is 3 for 5, a double in the first, a single and a run scored in the third, a grand slam homer in the fourth. And if you missed it, poof.
Looked like a slider that Sanchez tried to ease over the plate, just shakes his head. It was a very bad afternoon for one of the real good pitchers in this team. 3 1/3, 9 earned runs on 9 hits for Anibal Sanchez.
And rack him up. We go to the bottom of the ninth with this big lead. 12-3. 12-17-1 for us. 3-6-0 for them. Here's Anthony Gose. Just joining us, 2 home runs for us. 3-run shot by Adam LaRoche and a grand slam by Abreu. For them, J.D. Martinez, a solo shot. Sale went 6 innings, giving up the 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, had 6 strikeouts. Had a very tough and demanding first inning. Got out of it by throwing 28 pitches. And then after the big lead, more or less cruise controlled it. That ball hit into center field. And 1 out.
In that first inning, Davis led off with a blooping double down the right field line. And after the strikeout of Kinsler, base hit by Cabrera on a 3-2 breaking ball after a battling at bat where Chris was up to 98 miles an hour, something he doesn't do early in many games. Then he got a ground ball off the bat of his leading antagonist, Victor Martinez, and got out of the inning with a strikeout, but a whole lot of pitches and a lot of effort expended in that first.
Here's James McCann. Well, he had 11 pitches that were either 97 or 98 miles an hour in that first inning.
Yeah, he was reaching back and trying to get what he could to make sure he could get out of that first inning without any further damage. And then, of course, the offense came to play in the third, and that was pretty much it after the fourth. Matt Albert's loosening up, just in case Kyle has any problems whatsoever.
Alberts has been throwing the ball very well with good movement.
The bullpen thus far has been pleasantly surprising. They've done a pretty good job across the board.
Well, it's actually been what we hoped it would be. Beckham. 2 down. Hernan Perez 0 for 3 today. Breaking ball, no. Back to middle, not hit hard. Off the foot.
Almost likely goes a base hit.
Should. And that'll bring up Iglesias. Jose's 1 for 3. Hitting at .471 on the season. Takes ball 1. Pops it up. And everybody getting a chase, can't get there. And coming into action today, Iglesias was leading the American League in hitting. 1-2. A little pop up. Gordon's got him when that ball comes down. This ball game will be over. So the Sox square up the series at a game apiece. They win it 12-3, and we'll be back.